Hello, we back at it. Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Nia Marie. I'm back and I have a recovery chat topic for you today that I have gotten a few questions on this week. I've seen come up a few times and it's always on my mind. So let's talk about budgeting and finances and just like what the hell do you do with money in recovery? I totally made a script for what I wanted to talk about, or at least like some notes about what I wanted to talk about, and then I left them at work. So we're gonna wing this today and it's gonna be great. So there are quite a few things in recovery that cost money, that are expensive, that take time and resources that most of us, if we are living, breathing Americans, don't have time for. A few things that cost money are psychiatrists, therapists, dietitians. If you're going to a treatment facility that's like inpatient, residential, PHP, or IOP, all of those are expensive. We're talking thousands of dollars a day. It's ridiculous. Food is like one of the main things you're paying for. Medications, if you need those. Usually there's some sort of like place where you gotta live. Support groups, not always free. They should be. You think they would be. They're not always free. I guess like travel fares, if you are traveling to another state or country or city for treatment. Basically, there's just so much in recovery that costs money. And I've been getting super frustrated lately because all I watch on YouTube are YouTube people in recovery who can afford recovery, who can afford to go out and eat every day, who can afford to go through the drive-thru once a day, who can afford to buy really expensive vegan food. I'm not vegan, but I'm watching them buy vegan food and I know it's expensive. Can afford to just go to Whole Foods every day. And then there's me. I budget because I can't afford all of my living expenses, pay off my mountainous, hello Sally Mae, debt due to student loans and my car, and also just like credit cards in general. Like, are we millennials here? We are. I have a lot of debt. I have a lot of things that I have to pay every month. I don't have the money to just spend on food, spend on treatment, spend on dietitians. And some of you I know don't either. So I guess like here's some options that I think of. Where is your money coming from if you're in recovery? Number one, it depends on what stage of recovery you're in, what you're doing to treat it. But ideal situation is you have a job. So I have a job right now. I've been in recovery for almost 2 years and my job pays me enough to like live in this nice apartment and get to work every day and to feed myself, but it doesn't pay me enough. Like I'm still underpaid basically. So that's a problem, but hopefully you have a job. That's one way to pay for treatment. Another way, if you don't have a job, is to go on disability if your state has that, if your company has that, whatever that looks like for you. In California, they had a really great disability program where they paid me 60% of my wages within a certain quarter, and I was able to live off of that pretty, not like comfortably, but I wasn't paying rent at that time. So it was kind of comfortably, honestly. Working on getting disability set up was a nightmare. So just like keep in mind whatever you're doing, there's gonna be like a step that doesn't go the way you want it to, and you're gonna have to figure shit out. Okay, so third, maybe you have your family supporting you. Maybe they're paying for treatment. Maybe you're living at home with them and they're paying for your groceries. Maybe they're just helping you out so you don't have to be the one to find all the money yourself. That would be really awesome if that happened to me. And I'm not saying my family didn't like give me a couple $100 here and there, but like essentially I was paying for everything last year, which is when I was in a treatment center and doing recovery outside of treatment. And that was like all on me. Family can be there, they can be helpful. That would be amazing if they're helping you. But like, we don't always have that family support. So getting on disability, having a job, even if it's just a part-time job, finding a place to stay that's not going to cost that much, because that's probably like the most expensive thing in terms of your budget in general, is just finding a place to live. And the biggest way that you're going to pay for treatment is insurance. Especially if you're doing a treatment facility, unless your family can pay for it, chances are you're not going if you don't have insurance. And insurance sucks. I'm going to tell you guys that up front right now. Insurance is going to try and get out of paying anything. And so you need to like stay on top of insurance and be calling them, checking what they're charging for things, and negotiating with them. But that is like your number one way to pay for treatment, because that can be applied towards therapy, psychiatrists, maybe your dietitian. My insurance doesn't cover my dietitian, but maybe that. Medication. Insurance is key. Now I want to talk about how you pay for things. So we talked about how you get your money. We talked about what you're spending your money on. How do we pay for it? One thing that I am so big on, I didn't always do it, such a proponent, negotiate. Negotiate. Like, treat everything like it's a haggle, like it's a deal, like your therapist doesn't want to see you go without support. Your dietitian doesn't want to see you go without support. Your psychiatrist doesn't want to see you go without medication. So negotiate. That's telling them like, hey, right now I have, like, this is what I said to a dietitian that I'm going to start seeing next week. I emailed her and I said, what is your session cost? She said it was $75 for 45 minutes. And I said, I can't pay that. What are my options? And she said, okay, well, we could do 10 sessions at $60 a piece, $600. And I was like, bitch, I ain't got $600. So I didn't say that. I said it nicely. And I was like, I don't think I could do that. I have a lot of debt hanging over my head, but I really need the support right now. Even if it's just for a couple sessions that I can swing, is there anything you can do to help me? And she wrote me back and said, I would rather you have support than not. What can you pay? Boom. I've never had a situation that went as well as that, but that was perfect. And so I told her, like, I can pay you $50. Maybe I can only see you 3 times at $50, but I can pay you $50 and I need that support. And she said, okay, so we can do that. Negotiate. Always ask how they can help you, how they can lower your cost. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes, like, they're contracted with insurance and it's just not gonna happen. Another way of negotiating with providers or your therapist or your dietitian is asking them if you can do a payment plan. That's totally a valid option and it's a good one. I was on a payment plan for my treatment center. I think I've got 1 payment left. I'm kind of dodging them. I hope nobody sees this video. Y'all love me. But I'm broke. So, like, payment plans, majorly helpful. So that maybe you're not paying the whole session fee right then, but like, you can pay what you can up front and then work it out as you go along, kind of, so that you are seeing someone up front right away because you need that support. Payment plan, if they can't lower the price of their session, payment plan. So another thing, I don't know if everyone knows about this, but there's sliding fee for certain therapists, certain dietitians, which is kind of what I'm doing with my dietitian, but it's when you say, like, I can't pay this, can we do a sliding scale where I pay less so it slides? It's gorgeous. So it starts out maybe like $120 a session, sliding scale, maybe it's $75 a session based on your need. Ask them about that. Ask them if they can do that. Medications. How are we paying for medications? So always, if you have to take a brand name medication, go to that medication's website and look for coupon codes. One of my most expensive medications that before insurance costs, I think $1,400 a month. I pay $15 a month for it. And they wanted me to pay $50 after insurance. I got a coupon. I pay $15 a month. Guys, find a coupon code. And even if you can't find a coupon code, talk to Walgreens or CVS. Sometimes they have a program that they run where they can discount your medication. Always ask. Advocating for yourself is key. We covered medication, we covered providers, and then of course there's also scholarships out there. I didn't know this when I went to treatment, but Project Heal, they have a scholarship program for treatment, and it can't hurt to fill out an application. It can't hurt to do some research and look for other scholarships out there, to talk to your treatment center and say, what sort of scholarships do you have? What sort of payment plans do you have? I know that when I went to treatment, I couldn't really afford the transitional living house for PHP, and they lowered my monthly rent cost by 50%. So just asking and advocating, do that. Lastly, when we're talking about food, Pinterest, we're all millennials here. Okay, maybe we're not. I'm sorry if you're not a millennial. I love you too. But I just mean that we all know how to use Pinterest. We all know how to type in budget-friendly recipes. Do that. Cook in bulk so that you have multiple meals. Get creative. For me, I shop at Aldi every week right now because they have cheaper foods. They do brand name foods, or their brand name foods, sorry, but it's just cheaper. And if you go watch my other video from last week, I'm gonna link it up here somewhere. I did a mini food haul video in that of what I buy for $50 a week. That is my budget for food. I spend $50 a week on food. I get really picky about food, but you could probably do it for less if that's your budget. So if you guys liked that in the last video, if you want to see more about how I budget my food, how I budget my life, hit me up. I'll do a video. So budget for food, shop at cheaper places for food, and buy generic brands. It's okay if you're not eating the fancy brand name foods. It's gonna be okay. What's important is that you're eating and you're getting enough calories, or you're getting all your exchanges. That's what's important. I hope this video was helpful for those of you who are struggling with budgeting and money in recovery and just kind of overwhelmed by looking at what finances for recovery is going to be like. It will be okay. If you guys need help, if you have questions, hit me up. I will answer them when I can, how I can. I will try and help you out if you don't know what you're doing, or if you just need some advice. I'll try and help you out. So if you're new here, welcome. This is The Friend I Never Wanted. I am Nia Marie, and I'd love to have you with me on my recovery journey. So hit subscribe and go ahead and do all of the fun things. Give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment about what you thought. I'd love to hear from you guys. So have a good night.